Hello, it's your favorite attorney, Allie Booker. All right, guys, and today I want to discuss um, knowing your rights when you get pulled over. This is a serious one, okay? Make sure you watch it, okay? Like my video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, okay? Allie Booker, and my YouTube channel is Legal Cutie, LegalQtee. I have some old videos on there, archive videos. I'm getting ready to start putting more up. Okay, just trying to, get my feet underneath me. Corona really had things behind, and things are pretty much rolling again with respect to the legal industry. So, it makes me busy a lot of the times, but I'm getting back on top of things. So, I'll be able to have more content up for you guys. Listen, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and be honest. Well, I'm just going to be forthcoming with you. Why are you guys so mad that y'all are calling the office and yelling at me on the voicemail? Do you realize, first of all, that I'm not listening to the entire voicemail? Because when you yell, I can't hear you. Some of you all are using Metro PCS to do so. I can't even understand what you're trying to say, if I'm even the one that checks the message. Okay? But I want to be very clear. If you don't like the way the law is, then change it. Okay? Oh, wow. Okay? Because, see, a lot of people like to say that they don't like the way the law is. They don't do anything about it. They don't vote. Okay? Because those are the type. Sometimes a lot of y'all, and you know what I'm talking about, don't even try me. I've represented plenty of you all. And I have people in my family. Okay? And you don't vote because you believe that it doesn't make any sense and you're a sovereign, and we go there with that. But you don't vote. Okay? You do nothing to change the situation besides complain about it. Okay? But at least I'm doing something to change it. I'm doing something to make a change. I'm doing something about the inapplication of laws to the black community and the black person. I'm doing, and the woman and all of the brown people. Everybody, excuse me, it's my gum. I shouldn't have it, but I'm a gum fanatic. But anyways, everybody should have something that they're doing to combat that which they don't agree with. Okay? What I don't like, or I don't even care. I'm not going to say I don't like it. I don't register. It doesn't make sense to me when somebody complains about stuff, but they're not doing anything to change it. Okay? Y'all have Facebook pages too. And I'm sure if I go on there that you're not doing anything besides complaining. Okay? So I said all that to say this. Okay? You can say what you want about me. I help people. I care about my job, and I definitely care about my people. And if I see something that doesn't sit right, I'm going to say something just like I want you to do to me. Because at the end of the day, I want my greater later. And I don't think I can get there and do the things that I need to do in life with people lying to me about the way that society really is. Or lying to me about the way that I look or the way that I come across. Or anything of that nature. Because the one thing that I try to do is kind of just work on myself constantly. That's something I'm always doing. I don't think that I'm perfect. And I'm always steadily trying to reach the mark. And so the only way that I know how to do that is to constantly work on myself. And I'm sure a lot of you are the same way. So with that being said, I don't talk about it, I be about it. And I'm going to need you to do the same thing. Especially if you're going to call me and leave a long list of things on my voicemail. Okay, but we're gonna move on. I want to talk about what you do when you get pulled over. Okay, when you get pulled over, guys, there is an extreme sense within you that forces you to want to talk to the officers. Do not talk to officers. I tell a lot of people, whether or not you've been drinking, don't let your window all the way down. You can do halfway because they can see you. You can see them. You can slip your ID up, and you can kind of keep yourself, something, in between yourself and the officer to keep yourself some form of privacy if you do that. Now, I'm not saying to be rude and, barely have it open. But, I don't think that you have to basically be hanging out your window when they pull up. Okay. And I don't think that you have to answer questions. Certain questions you do have to ask, like your name, your date of birth, etc. But when they ask you all types of questions, like where are you coming from, where are you going, you don't technically have to answer those questions. You do have a right to know what you're being pulled over for. Um, I would argue up to a lot of people that the less that you say, the less that they get from you to gain probable cause or reasonable suspicion, because that's pretty much all they need. If they reasonably suspect that there's something criminal afoot or there's some criminal wrongdoing taking place, then they have the right to start to talk to you, okay? To develop probable cause. And the way that they develop that probable cause to ask you questions, and based on your answers, that gives them probable cause, right? They come up to your car and you have the window rolled all the way down, and based on how your car smells, that gives them probable cause to tell you how to get out, right? You know, you're gonna have to get out now. I need to search you. I smell marijuana. But see, they don't really smell anything when your window's halfway up. But see, and I know sometimes people ride and smoke, and don't do that. Don't ride and smoke. Um, don't ride and smoke. Don't put yourself in that situation, y'all. It is too many places. There's too many places that you can do that type of stuff at that is shielded, that where nobody can see you, because you have a lessened sense of privacy in a vehicle. And I always tell people that your sense of privacy is lessened. It's not like a home, and the reason that it's not like a home is because a car is a vessel that you can see through. So as long as you can see through a vehicle, which a person can, and as long as a vehicle has windows, which they do, you have what's called a lessened expectation of privacy, meaning the officer can walk up to your car and look inside of it, and you have to reasonably ascertain and believe that that's something that they can do because you have a window there, and they can look inside, and if they claim that they see something that's within eye view that's improper, they can then investigate further. So anytime you're in a vehicle, you have a lessened sense of privacy. Be very careful, okay, with what you do inside of a vehicle because of that lessened sense of privacy. But anyways, when you get pulled over, let your window down part of the way. Give them your ID and registration immediately. A lot of the times people like to get into arguments over an ID and registration. And guys, it only opens up the door for them to be able to get probable cause against you for an additional charge or some criminal activity. Okay? I always tell people, if you don't have a driver's license, why are you driving? Because when you don't have a driver's license and you're driving, that can be a criminal penalty depending on how many times you've been arrested before here in Texas. So if you have a conviction already on your record for driving without a license, and then you drive without a license again, and they can see that, because they can run you. They're going to run you to determine whether or not you've ever had an issue with driving without a license, right? If you have that issue, driving without a license, then they can arrest you. And if they can arrest you, that means they can get you out of that car and they can talk to you, right? And they can search. If they can arrest you, sometimes they can search that. Most of the time, they'll search that vehicle. So if you don't have a license, try to stay off the roads or have someone else drive. Not only are you going to roll that window down and give them everything that they're asking for off the bat, and not be driving if you don't have a license, so that you don't have to worry about incriminating yourself or opening up a can of worms that could go terribly wrong. You're not going to offer up information either. You're just not. Guys, and I tell people this all the time, everybody knows that what you say can and will be used against you. Another issue is, guys, is that a lot of people don't truly know when they're detained and when they're not detained. They don't know when they're free to leave and when they're not free to leave. And police are very good at skewing the margins and skewing things so that you don't know. It's a gray area as to whether or not you're free to go. Many of the times that we come into contact with an officer, we're free to leave. We are free to leave. We don't know that because they're like, well, I'm asking you questions, but I'm not free to go. You might be asking me some questions, but if there's no criminal activity afoot, no reasonable suspicion that I'm doing anything wrong, I can go. Okay? Especially if you haven't told me anything. And a lot of the times they won't tell you that there's anything that they feel like you're doing. They'll just ask you questions. That's all they'll do. And then what we do as people, because they're the officers, they're cops, is start to answer these questions. And you don't know how many times I get cases and it's like, why did you answer that? And they're like, because they're the cops. And that's exactly why you should not answer anything, because they're the cops. I wouldn't answer anything other than my name, my date of birth, and my insurance. And after that, I'm silent. Because where did you just come from? Well, where the hell did you just come from? You know what I mean? Where'd you eat lunch? Where did you eat lunch? You know what I mean? Like, why am I on trial? Am I on trial? Was I speeding? What are you pulling me over for? I just want to know, you know? And I know people are targeted. I've had officers pull me over and say, well, I pulled you over because you had a paper tag. Excuse me? And I filed a report right then and there. Filed an IED because you're pulling me over because I have a paper tag. So that means anybody who has a paper tag gets pulled over. You don't have any reasonable suspicion, probable cause that I've done anything wrong. You just pulled me over because I have a paper tag. So you're discriminating. And everybody who has a paper tag gets pulled over. Well, a lot of people have paper tags that are fake. Well, then you need to be running that damn tag while I'm driving. That's what you need to be doing. Well, we can't ever see the numbers when you're driving. Well, whose fault is that? That's called the state of Texas's fault. You might want to call Text Dot and DPS about that shit. That has nothing to do with me. Maybe they need to make sure that all paper tags are scannable. And if they're not scannable by your police cruisers, then it's a fake tag. Maybe y'all need to come up with a way to speak to each other on the tags, just like you can with the real tag, right? And he had, of course, he let me go. Of course, I filed my complaint. But I saw how easy it was then and there to get pulled over for nothing. I've been in the car before with nothing but girls, and have officers tell me I'm on the wrong side of the tracks and I need to get home after they look at my ID. So I know, you know, how it is when you get pulled over, and I know how hard it is to stand your ground. But the more you stand your ground, the better off you are. In addition to answering minimal questions, not really answering questions, you also need to make sure that you ask them whether you're being detained, and ask them why they're pulling you over. You have to know the reason for the exchange between yourself and an officer. You have to know your rights, and you won't be able to know what rights you have if you don't know what boat you're in. So when they pull you over, just ask them what they're pulling you over for. They should be happy to tell you. A lot of the times they don't want to answer the question right then and there, and they say they want your license and registration, blah, blah, blah. Once you've given that to them, they have to answer you. They just do. And if they don't want to answer you, or they don't want to discuss anything with you, you don't discuss anything with them, and you ask that a sergeant is called to the scene. Because at that point, there's something that isn't going right. There's some sort of probable cause or something that they don't have, and they're trying to create it some kind of way. And rather than you get caught up with them trying to create probable cause so that they can try to search your car, because inevitably in the end that's all they want to do is search it. Know your rights. Stand your ground. Ask for a sergeant. Okay? So we're going to go through this again. Always have your license and registration ready and ready to give to the officer. Do not roll your window all the way down. Just don't do it. Because you could have smoked a black and mild yesterday, and they'll say it's weed today. But with that window rolled up like that, what smell is coming out of the car? Nothing. Not a smell. Okay? You're speaking, to them and answering your name, your date of birth, and identifying markers for yourself, and then we're quiet. Okay, we're quiet at that point. We're done talking. We're done. Because if there's an investigation that they need to conduct it. But I don't have to assist you. I don't have to assist your ass. I don't have to help you. Excuse my French. You don't have to help somebody lock you up. You don't have to. If they ask you where you're going from, you don't have to answer that. Where you're coming from or where you're going to, you technically don't have to answer that. Why are they asking you that? Do you believe that I'm, someone who's committed a crime? Why have you pulled me over? And why are you asking me these questions? I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I'm trying to ascertain what's going on. Well, am I free to leave? Am I free to go, or are you detaining me? And make sure their video is on or you record. Those are questions that you need to ask. You always need to know why you are being pulled over. Why you are being pulled over. And number two, are you being detained? And because sometimes they'll tell you no. When they're smart, they'll be like, no, sir, I was just asking you, okay, well, am I free to leave? Okay, well, thank you, goodbye, and you go. You would be shocked how many people could get off the side of the road and drive off if they just asked those questions to the officer. Okay? So, just wanted to give you that little bit. I can expand and expound on things if necessary. All you guys need to do is send me emails, voicemail, list your comments, questions, and I'll be free to answer those. I'll be happy to answer those for you. And you guys have a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend. Okay? And make sure you assert your rights while you're driving if you're pulled over. Okay? Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and download the African Diaspora News Channel app, now available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.